Hello, welcome to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C., all the way from Philadelphia, PA. Super excited to have a very special guest on today. This is brought to you by BALM Global and the Connected Leaders Academy. And we are currently sponsoring Warrior Women with Desiree Cruz as well. And just happy to be part of this new anthology coming up. So super excited. Definitely check that out. We have some things going on in June for our big Jumbotron events of book release on the big Jumbotron of our book. So that's absolutely exciting. But we do have a very special guest that is part of the communities that I'm in, and one of them being the Millie Club. And that's with Dr. Obam Boeing. And we have Michael Derouin here, and I hope I said his name correctly. He's he's been doing 20 years as an entrepreneur and a business coach, 10 years in the Navy. Thank you so much for your service, including leadership positions, 10 years as an educator, be at BASc in criminal justice and law enforcement, successful entrepreneur coach, keynote speaker on radio shows, topics including leadership development, entrepreneurship, and business development. Organizations are BNI, CEO, space leadership, leadership marketing, and networking. And he is a sought after leader, in educational excellence with a high level of personal motivation and drive. He is an entrepreneur with over 20 years of managerial leadership and experience, and also military police and federal police officer for 10 years and 3 years. Sequentially, Michael is an educator who is a great listener and an excellent communicator with a keen focus and drives towards helping people. Michael's passion is helping people achieve their goals and wholeness to be able to live to their full potential relationality. He continues to be a critical thinker who is overly excited about views concerning education and the empowerment of people, which is definitely all the languages that I absolutely love. So without further ado, we will bring Michael right on here. Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing amazing, Nikki. Hey, thank you for allowing me to be on your show today. I appreciate it. God bless. And thank you for taking the time to allow me to share my experiences with your group.
Yes, absolutely. When we get in these communities, we connect on so many levels, and just being able to get people on this platform and be able to highlight them is just my pure passion. It's what I love to do. And not only do I do it for my audience, but I selfishly do it for myself as well. Because not only do I get to know all my guests on a more personal level, I get to, kind of dig deep into their story and be able to pull some knowledge for myself and for, the world to see. So thank you so much for accepting this invitation. And I just want to say, you will be part of our top 100 interviews in less than 6 months since
Love
we have
it.
been live.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. That announcement will come out very, very soon. Super excited about this journey, and I'm so glad to have you here. So, Michael, we're going to first start with, what's your background? Where did you come from? And what was your first passion in life where you said, okay, I'm going to try to do this, but if that didn't happen, how did it lead you to where you are today?
That's a long story. I don't know if we have more than an hour for that one, Nikki. But my background is I grew up in the Midwest. So my mother worked for General Motors, and then we moved around a little bit. And I found myself. So I actually dropped out of high school in 10th grade and started working in the workforce, and found that really quickly that's not the direction I wanted to go. But I did get my GED as soon as I dropped out, and from there, I started working more in like factories, and really didn't have that positive environment around me. There was a lot of negativity. I don't know if you've ever worked in a factory, but it's people complaining all the time and really not getting ahead. And then one day, I actually answered an ad, and in that ad, I went to a meeting, and this person was very excited and very outgoing. And I was like, what's wrong with that person? Because I wasn't used to that environment, right? And then I said, well, let me find out a little bit more. Long story short, he introduced me to Tony Robbins. And at that time, this was in the 90s. So that was a cassette tape. And that was Unleash the Power Within. And I'm like, wow, a lot of this makes a lot of sense. And I never applied it in my life because my path, there's two ways in life you can go. There's what we've talked about in the Millie Club before as well, but it's a slight edge. So you have your daily disciplines and everything that you're doing on a daily basis can take you one way, but it can also take you down the negative road. And at that time, my life was going down the negative road. So I always believed in the Lord. And I said, Lord, what's going on? What do you need me to do? And boom, lo and behold, that person was introduced to me. I got introduced to personal development. I started learning more about who I am as a person. I've always loved helping people. And so that's what got me into the path of, well, I wanted to be a pilot and I want to get into law enforcement. So I went into the Navy to get into to becoming a pilot, but then I needed glasses, long story short. But I was able to find my other passion, which was getting involved in law enforcement. So I ended up doing that for over 13 years. But even in that process, I've always had the mindset of being an entrepreneur. I never liked working for anybody else. I didn't even like going to school because I didn't like someone else telling me what to do and dictating what my future would look like. So long story short, I ended up getting in the military. After I got out of the military, I got my associates, got my bachelor's, and was still an entrepreneur at the time. I ran several businesses, was very successful at those businesses, but got burnt out. When you're trying to, I'm sure you could relate to this, Nikki, or even your show here, is when you're trying to help someone else get what they want in life and they give up on their own dreams and their own realities, it's hard because you want to help that person. So I got burnt out and working with people. And so I went to work in education. Go figure, right? Because you're still working with people. But it was a different aspect of things. It wasn't so much as entrepreneurship, but it was helping people realize what their goals was and their dreams. And that was through education. And then I found myself every single year being laid off because in private education versus the nonprofits, there's quotas, there's different things that they had to meet. And the companies that I worked with ended up going down. It was nothing to do with me. It was the companies itself. And I said, you know what? I don't want to live like this anymore. So I went back to becoming an entrepreneur. Long story short, that's how I got involved with the financial services. And I was a veteran. So, I needed the services as well. And it took me 2.5 years and 70 hours to actually get approved. So I'm like, you know what? I can help other military members get access to what I'm doing now. So that was a lifetime of experience in just a few minutes.
Yes, great way to sum it up. So again, no clear direction, didn't want to be told what to do, kind of didn't have that passion or that positive voice to say, hey, you can just stick it out a couple more years, just graduate, kind of move on. But then really going into the space of factory, and I did work in a factory as well. I actually stuffed envelopes for a year, and very low pay, really nothing to do, just kind of in a factory job. When you're like on an assembly line,
Yes.
It's like you have so much time to really think about what your future is going to look like. Like, is this really what life has come to, right?
Amen.
And at that time, I believe I was like 21. I had just came from Chicago. So so I definitely know where you're coming from, for sure. But then you go on and you say, you have this person that comes into your life, which sometimes we never know who that will be. And they give you an opportunity, or they show you an opportunity, because they don't give it to you. They show it to you. They know that it's done something in their life and it can do something in your life. And again, I was presented in the MLM space as well, February of 2020. And
Okay.
I started my first venture in like travel and stuff like that. And I felt like, shoot, this is no brainer. Everybody wants to travel. And then COVID smacks us in the face. And that just, goes up in smoke. But let me tell you, in 2021, I was on revenge travel. So it was definitely working regardless what the news was saying, which they kind of generate this whole jazz about some stuff that we either believe it or we don't. And let me tell you, I did not believe it. I know that we lost people and we were going through some stuff, and it was a hard time for the world, but life still had to be lived for the people that were still here, right?
Yes.
Um, so I definitely understand when someone presents you with an opportunity, just listen. I just needed to say that because it has changed my life. So it changed your life. You go into you go into the Navy. How was that experience? What were some challenges that you had to face during that time, as far as really seeking out your goals through having to serve as well?
For me, I didn't find it that much of a challenge. I've always been more independent. I feel like more I have an old soul. Even growing up when I was younger, I was always hanging around older people and all of that. So, but we had people there that maybe that was their first time being away from home, or their first time being away from parents. But for me, it wasn't that big of a challenge. It was just the daily disciplines like we deal with now as entrepreneurs, right? Every day, you're getting up, you're doing exercises, you're marching, you're doing this, but they're looking on your mindset. So they're working
Mhm.
because the whole goal is not everyone's going to graduate. So you would see, we started with like, I think in our group, like 120 people, and we ended up graduating with maybe like 30 because it is a filtering process. But even in our businesses today, those that get us to the next level, even if it's in a structure or corporate business, or even as an entrepreneur, are not always the people that are going to take you to the next level in business. And that's what I found in the military as well. But I loved it because you were able to make an impact on someone else's life. Although you do have those leaders that say, tell you, hey, this is what I want you to do, but then don't even follow their own words. So I was always the type of person is listen, don't just listen to what I have to say, watch what I'm doing and I'll show you how to do it. So it's not just telling you, but actually showing them. So I was able to utilize that aspect of it. It allowed me to develop, it allowed me to become a better person. So if I had to do it again, I would go through it again.
That's awesome. I love that you said that. It's not just telling you how to do it, it's actually observing and seeing, one, if you're doing it right, and if you can bring your own things to the table as well, because not everyone's way is the right way. There's going to be always a new way that can be better, quicker, faster results. And that's the same way in entrepreneurship. There's so many coaches, but we all have that different teaching style, and we all have that different personality that we bring to the table. So I just love that you say that. Can you kind of explain or share with us some kind of some pivotal moments in that leadership space in the Navy while you were leading other people, and any transformational stories that you can really think of right now that really changed your way and your approach?
Well, because like I go back to before, because you would always have someone telling you what to do. Because that's the military, right? You have to take orders and all that as well. But sometimes, and I saw this in law enforcement too, is some people would like to abuse their authority because they're a higher rank or something like that. So they may tell you something to do that may not even be right. So I was always the type of person, I wouldn't just listen. If it wasn't that was something right, I would challenge them as well, even if I was a lower rank. Just because I'm at a certain rank and you're at a different rank doesn't mean you get to the opportunity to disrespect me or disrespect others around us. So I would stand up for other people. Even in my law enforcement career in the military as well, you would have officers or different people trying to take advantage of lower ranking individuals, and I would stand up for them as well because it's not right. And it's always doing what's right. What did the Lord put us on this earth to do? Is do what's right for your fellow man. So that's the same teachings and same concepts that I would take into my everyday life, is because when you're in law enforcement, you're in a position of authority, and a rank or a title doesn't have anything to do with your job. You have a job to do regardless of what rank or what title is the person that you're dealing with. So a lot of the higher ups would try to take advantage of other people in my same group, and I would not allow them to do that because we are in a position of authority, and what we do makes a difference because it could be the difference of someone going home and not going home. That's the
Mhm.
reality of being in law enforcement.
And and they have to set the example, right? Especially
Yes.
no matter what rank you're in, even when you're starting off, so you're all the way at the top. Either way, someone has to be take that initiative to be that leader that's going to empower and make sure that things are done correctly, so that people go home safely. That's what we all want every night for all our law enforcement. So that's amazing. So when you So you're no longer doing that. What are you currently doing now? How did your passion find you, or did you go into that passion?
Well, I came to a point where I'm like, Lord, what's next for me? I love helping people, and I've done that throughout my whole life. My family growing up called me professor because I would listen and help everyone around me. And so I came to a point, I said, Lord, what's next for me? And long story short, I ended up in the financial services industry. What I love about it is what I teach. So I'm a wealth strategist. I teach people how to indemnify their lives. And what indemnity is bringing them wholeness after a crisis happens. So that's with financial services, that's retirement planning, that's different strategies and conceptions that we're not taught. We're not taught in school. We're not taught even in college levels, or even in the government level, or even HR levels. So these are strategies that will help people today. You don't just like, for instance, one of the things that I offer is life insurance with living benefits. Shouldn't life insurance be offered and being able to utilize it today and not have to wait to pass away to use it? And that's another strategy and tactic that can also pass along generational wealth. So long story short, this is where the Lord put me. So I know when I sit in front of somebody there, I'm there for a reason because the Lord put me there. And my own story, taking 2.5 years and 70 miles just to get coverage for life insurance because of my disability, that was a passion for me to be able to help others get access to something like this, especially our military members too, because they're not taught. They don't know, that there's other options and different availabilities besides what the military gives them as far as taking care of themselves and taking care of their families.
Wow, that's powerful because our military are left to kind of fend for themselves once they get discharged, whether it be from a disability or whether, they've done their term, and they are not the greatest benefits either. There's a lot of homelessness and just all these other things. And when you can really take what you have or what you have found to better that demographic, that's just something beautiful, because it's not really thinking about, okay, let's build my wealth, but let's also help those around us. Not only one, be educated, because we all need to be educated on our finances and what we can do, especially with living policies, because again, we can have those insurance policies, but when we go, we're not taking anything with us. And sometimes we get in jams where that can be super beneficial for our families, our friends, and, businesses, organizations around us. So, again, there's so many things out there. Can you just share a few things that, you want to share with our audience that maybe are myths, and that you can bust them right now?
Well, absolutely. So let me ask you this. When it comes to investing, does there have to be risk?
Yes.
No, there does not. There's strategies where you can grow your money tax-free, get access to that money tax-free with zero risk. But this just shows you that these are what we've been taught all of our lives, right? That there has to be. No, there doesn't have to be risk when it comes to protecting yourselves or protecting your future. There's other strategies, and these are not new strategies. These are concepts that have been around. Let's look at some of the franchises that uses these: McDonald's, Disney Corporation, Stanford University. All of these companies were grown or kept alive with cash value life insurance. And they didn't have to worry about the risk involved with it, because in that type of concept, they're not risking your principal like you would in other strategies. So that's the other thing. And then the other thing I find, Nikki, in this industry is 9 out of 10 families I sit down with are way underinsured. Because let's think about it. How do we get our life insurance, or how do we get any type of insurance? We get a quote. But what are they really quoting you on? What you think you can afford. But what about the things that you need to become indemnified, which is that wholeness, which is if something happens to you, who's taking care of your debt? What about your income if something happens to you to cover you, cover your mortgage, cover your expenses, education? I worked in education for over 10 years. What about having that child and being able to set up education plans for them? So that's what I'm able to do for families. So even if they have life insurance through their jobs or through other companies, 9 out of 10, they're underinsured, or they have the old type of life insurance where they only can pass away to use it.
That is so important to know. So definitely, we need to get more educated on financial stability, because that is just super important, especially for our children, our children's children. And if they know early enough by the time they're in high school to know these things, once they get into the workforce, they know what to start investing in, or, instead of investing in things that aren't going to serve them, right? And
Yes.
when they're building their families, that these policies are put in place. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to just talk a little bit more about what you have going on. So just bear with us one moment, and we're going to listen from our
Perfect.
sponsor.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JASCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. We are talking to Michael. And Michael, where are you tuning in from?
San Diego.
How's the weather?
Right now, it's okay.
It's
But
okay. Was it raining these past few days?
these last 3 months, you know that song where they say it never rains in Southern California? Well, that's a myth, because
That's
it does. And we've been having like Philadelphia weather here the last couple of months, but today we are blessed.
Nice, beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing that. I love just getting the perspective of people in all the way around the world, because that's what our community consists of. We're like, when we say we are all over the world, we are all over the world, just building, connecting, and just making things happen. And that's why I'm just so happy to have you here all the way from San Diego, which is probably 3 hours earlier than RM. You're in the past, I'm in the future. So I think my
Yes, isn't
aunt
that
told us
awesome?
that the other day. um, Super excited for you and what you have going on. So tell us a little bit more about what type of mindset do you have to have in an entrepreneurial space when you're trying to build something, whether it's in finance, whether it's in coaching, whether it's in community building. What would you like to tell our audience about, what gets you through the day, as far as being able to show up and show out for your clients, for your community every single day?
Well, here's what I've learned with entrepreneurship, or even, building wealth. It's only based on 3 things. If you want to change where you're at today, you can do that in a 90-day time frame. And it's based on these 3 things. The first is the people that you hang around. Look at the people that you hang around. It's not to say in dissociation with your family or members, but sometimes you do got to cut those negative people out of your life, because are they either pushing you up or pushing you down? So if you want to hit the next level in life, you need someone that's going to be there on your sideline. Every professional has a coach, right? The coach isn't saying, "Hey, you're worthless. You can't do this." They're pushing them up. "Hey, you can do this. I believe in you." Having all those types of efforts, right? So the same thing goes with this as well. Is when it comes to life, it's the people that you're hanging around, but also the events that you're attending. So just like with us, with the Underdog Millionaire Club, or with Connected Leaders Academy, who are the people that we are associating with? Because you are like the 5 people that you hang around the most in your associations, but also the events that you attend. This is what's going to change who you are. So if you've never been an entrepreneur, and if you're still working your job, think about it this way. What are the little things and the daily disciplines that I can do every day that will make a difference? If you thought about starting your own business, there's a lot of people that have already done it. But it comes down to this. What books are you reading and applying in your life? Because everything that we go through, a book has been written about it. So why not take something that's already been proven and that's already been done and just copy it? Who are you copying? So those are really what it comes down to, is those 3 things. Anyone can be an entrepreneur. Anyone can start a business, because the Lord would never give it to you here in your mind if it wasn't possible. But you just have to be able to take that step outside your comfort zone, which is very uncomfortable. But then you're going to find other people that are outside their comfort zone. And then you can have those associations to help push you up in life.
I love that. I actually just have been building my library for the past year. I think I have purchased over 120 books, if I'm being honest. Have I
Awesome.
gotten to each and every one of them? No. Have I started most of them? Yes. I can't finish them. There's just so much going on because I just get so inspired by, the words that, I'm taking note and I'm taking action. And when you can't really afford a high ticket price an event, when you can't you know attend either virtual events, I always say, and I think someone on my podcast has said it before, start with books. It's so true. It'll give you the desire. Is it going to give you all the how to's? Probably not. And I love that you said copy it, duplicate it. There is no reason why we need to be organic or be the first time of doing something new, because if it isn't broke, don't fix it, right? But
Yes.
my response to that is that even though you are using the same concepts, it's always going to be your identity behind it. So
Amen.
don't ever think that, oh, there's so many podcasts out there. Why would I build one? Oh, so many people wrote about this. Why would I write one? No one has your experiences. No one lived the life that you lived, and people need to hear the life that you lived because we all have something to say. And I love also how you said that if it wasn't for you, God wouldn't put it in your mind. But are we really listening to the thoughts that we're getting? And it's one thing to get the thought and to actually take action on it. That's probably the most hardest thing because we're always looking at the how. How are we going to get this done? Do I have the capital for it? Do I have the website? Do I have the logo? No, if it's an idea, write it down, run with it, see where it sticks, and then you build it out as you go.
Yes.
That's how I was able to organically build the 6 businesses I was able to build in less than a year because I invested in myself and went to an event, joined the communities, got a coach, and read the books, which is crazy that you just said all those things. And I didn't even know that that's what you were going to say. And I actually am doing it unconsciously. Like I didn't even know this was happening. How crazy is that? And it's so simple. I am not one that likes to be on lives and likes to do this, but I know that I'm at my best when I do it. And it's so uncomfortable, but I think that's the best part of it. That you do it anyway, regardless if it feels uncomfortable, because the fruits of your labor will show and show time and time again, but you have to take action. So thank you so much for those things. And how important is it to be consistent with your message and whatever that message looks like?
Well, I'll tell you, consistency and persistency is everything. How are you going to beat your competition? By being consistent and persistent. For example, we did a challenge to our local brokers here. And it was whoever could post a message every single day on Instagram. Now, I didn't give the best post. I didn't get the most likes, but I was consistent and I was persistent and I won the challenge because I was the only one that finished it. So in life, just be consistent and persistent on what you're doing. And if you're doing that consistently, and then it's going to become a habit, and then you're just going to do it, unsubconsciously, right? It's just going to continue to happen. And now you're going to beat your competition because they're not consistent. They're not persistent. It's like in business or in life. How many times does the average person follow up? Maybe once, twice. But if you're the one that's continually following up with people, continually building those relationships, you're going to have a lot more than someone that's not.
Absolutely. You follow up until they tell you, do not call me again.
And that doesn't mean not now. That just means right now, but it doesn't mean later because things change in people's lives as well.
Absolutely. And you know what? I love that you said that because I'm a true testament to someone that said that they wouldn't. I think I was offering a course and They had seen it back in the day. They just said, you know what, it's not for me right now. And I actually just locked them in. So, and that was what, like 8 months ago. So, I just followed up, not just really just connecting with the person. How are you doing? What's going on in your life? Not pitching them anything. And I truly was not looking for that sale, just genuinely nurturing that relationship for whatever it would look like in the future. Because again, I was not looking for that sale at all. It didn't bother me if they joined or not, but the most important part for me was that relationship building. So again, sometimes those no's are just no right now, but not forever. But if they do tell you to don't call me again, then don't call them again, or they'll block
Yeah,
you.
you don't want to be obnoxious and then blowing them up. But I think when you come from a servant heart and you're only trying to help them, and that will show through versus you
Yeah.
just trying to be salesy to them or spewing on them, right? You're just trying to help them because you're coming from a place that you care.
Yeah. And that's also a great point, because a lot of people don't like that close. They don't like to ask for those opportunities that they are probably leaving on the table because they're scared of the rejection. How would you help someone in that mindset on closing?
Well, think about it. Throughout our life, we're in either a sales or a closing relationship, right? When you're a baby, when you cry, you either need a diaper change or you need fed or you're not feeling well, right? So as you grow up, as you get into relationships, as you're asking that person out. So these are things that we're doing every single day, but people don't associate that when it comes to business. So if you're given the right value, then yes, you should be asking them because you're helping them. There was a story that Jim Rohn once said that I think he got from Zig Ziglar, where he went to a sale where this family, he was selling pots and pans or something like that at this time, right? And it was a large family. So he went to the house and he had did a great presentation and everything like that. And the family was like, oh, we're not sure. But when he left, then he thought he did an amazing job. But what he found out is that family needed those pots and pans or whatever the thing that he was selling, right? So by him not actually going with the passion and having the belief that they needed that put them in a disadvantage because they had a huge family. So they needed that to cook and all that. So long story short, if you're not asking for that sale or you're not asking for them to buy, you're doing a disservice to them because they may need it. And in sales, sometimes you need to tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And it's just transferring that belief level. And when you do it from a place like I talked about before, from caring, it's going to show. And in worst case scenario, they say no. We can hear no's all day long. Does it kill us? No. We move forward. It's okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. That's so awesome. It's been awesome chatting with you, but let us know a little bit more about how people can get a hold of you. Do you have anything coming up? What's going on?
Yeah, during the week, I'm always having different webinars, different workshops that we do. So if you want to get connected, if you want to just learn the strategies, you don't have to come into saying that I'm trying to sell you or anything like that. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you the concepts that are not being taught in school. They're not being taught in college. They're not even being taught in HR or financial markets. So if you just want to learn those strategies, I think my contact information is down below. Reach out to me. You can email me, you can text me, you can call me, you can find me on social media. I'm happy to sit down with you and take a look at what you have in place. And I'll be the first to tell you if it is something good, there's no reason to replace what you have if it's already working for you. But if it's something that we can add additional to help you even better, then I'll be the first to tell you that as well. So definitely contact me there. You can get a hold of me. It's my email, my contact information, more information about the companies and the services that I offer, and more importantly, who my partners are. I work with some of the top life insurance and financial service companies in the world that have been around for over 100 plus years. So when you sit down with me, you can have that peace of mind knowing that you have a company that is going to be for your best interest, that's going to take care of you. They've been around for a very long time, and they're a very financially stable company as well.
That is awesome. And actually, that link is pretty cool. I love how it looks like a phone and it has like the digits and you could just lock in. I never had seen it because, we see Calendly and I have Square space for my calendar. So it was pretty cool seeing something different. And yeah, so definitely connect. And what would you like to leave our audience with today, both on the financial piece and just their life as a whole? um and what
I
they
would
should.
say more everything nowadays, and unfortunately you're seeing it gone, is morals, principles, and values. You really got to look at where we're going as a society, where we're going as individuals. What do you want your life to look like? Are you're either building someone else's dream? Why not start building your own? You don't have to do it full force and quit your job or anything like that. But there's a good saying, work full time on your job, but part time on your dreams and your future. So take that step, take that initiative. If you don't know what to do, reach out to somebody, because the morals, principles, and values in society today, in our education system and everything else, are going away. So if you're not inspiring those on your kids or even people around you, then what else are we here for? Because it's going to be, times are getting harder, but it doesn't mean that we have to suffer, especially if we work together as a community. I believe in cooperative marketing versus solo, entrepreneurship, right? So is how can we help grow and develop each other? Because when you help enough people get what they want, you'll have everything that you want in life.
I 100% agree with that. I just had posted something the other day that I'm in the shipping business. I'm in the collaborationship, the friendship, fellowship,
I love that.
and partnership. Most of all, the main one is the relationship business, because that's really where the core of the growth comes from, when you have two people like Michael and myself that we connected maybe twice before today. And, now he's on my podcast. He's part of the BALM family. We're attached at the hip. We share our communities together, and we don't know what the future holds for us, but we have to sit here and nurture this friendship, this fellowship, and really see how we can grow each other. And, that's how I use my platform to get people that I'm in community with. And that's not hard. That doesn't take much. And when you genuinely want to see each other succeed in every area of our lives, it just comes naturally. So, and that's what I see in all our communities. And, being in 8 of them now, it's like, oh my God, there's so many.
Well, how do you have so much time?
I know. And I do get some sleep, and I'm trying to put an event together. So I'll get some time back at some point. But it has all been worth it. It's my year story. I've already built the foundation. So now it's time to enjoy it with each and every one of you. So thank you so much for empowering our audience today. I hope you wrote notes. Definitely connect with Michael. He is just amazing and so knowledgeable in everything. And protect your family. Protect the generations to come, because it's really not about us. We have already lived a part of our lives, and it's really for our generations behind us that we have to make sure that they're left with that peace of mind, that they can come into this world confident and be able to build their own and not build somebody else's dream. And I love that you said that, because that is my huge mission with my son who's about to graduate. So thank you, Michael, for everything you said. It was absolutely amazing. Enjoyed having you on. Can't wait to have you back.
Thank you, Nikki. I appreciate the time, and definitely I look forward to seeing where our partnership can go in the future, and more importantly, how we can help each other grow.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for joining in to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. Have a great day. And as I always say, make it count.